Hi there and welcome. This is Marianne from designyourownblog.com. Today I'm showing you step 3 of the how to offer content upgrades with a fake LeadPages landing page. If you haven't watched step 1 and followed step 2 yet, I strongly recommend that you do so as there's a reason to the order. You'll also get the full tutorial if you go to designyourownblog.com/fake LeadPages. There you will receive the checklist you need for all the steps to follow, as well as the HTML that you'll need to enter into your new page. Okay, so let's get started. Today, I'm going to show you how to create the actual full screen image landing page with a call to action button that initiates the pop-up sign up form. All right, so now the first thing that you need is a background image. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the background image, okay? If you'll notice, it's very simple. There's a simple background, not a lot going on. You want something that's not busy. You don't want, say, like a city background or trees or all that kind of stuff. You want something that's very simple, hopefully, one color, so that this box stands out against it, okay? You want the eye to be led to this, and especially initially the button, okay? Another thing you want, what's really ideal to have, is a photo of you looking at and or pointing to this area of the page, okay? This is a marketing tactic that's proven to actually work, because if you look, this is a picture of me. If you look, I am looking directly at this, and your eye will automatically be led to look at that just because you're looking at this page, okay? So I would highly recommend that you get a photo taken of yourself with this sort of background, a very simple background, or you can even cut yourself out in Photoshop and put yourself on a plain background, but something where the eye is led to the person and then to the text, okay? So another thing about the image is that you want to have something that is 1500 pixels across by 1000 pixels high. You can have it bigger than that, but again, it's going to be a pretty large image to load on, say, a mobile device. So I have found that 1500 by 1000 is about the right size that will look good on a large monitor as well as a small mobile phone screen. Okay? All right, so let's get started. Let's go to our WordPress dashboard. And from here, we're going to go to Parallax Gravity Light, New Landing Page. Parallax Gravity Light is a plugin that we installed in step 1, so hopefully you've done that already. All right, and here we're going to add a page title. Now this page title is not going to appear on the page. The only place it's going to appear is up here in the browser tab. Okay, so you're going to want to have something that maybe explains the benefit of the page. So I'm just going to put offer content upgrades for free, something simple like that, and add section. And we're going to add a section. This is where we're going to be able to add our content. In order to edit this section, we have to hit Save Draft first, and this will basically get this section ready to edit. Okay, so now what we can do is we can change this. I like to call it like full-size image, whatever you want. You'll see that it changes it up here, so that if you were to have multiple sections, you would be able to identify each section by the name. So that's really just for you. Next is the padding. Padding, you can leave the top as 80. The bottom, I have found that 600 about is the best. Now 80 is the padding up here, 600 is down here. Now you'll notice on this laptop screen there's extra space and it scrolls. However, on a large monitor there's not going to be any space below. So I mean, it's not going to scroll. So what would happen is, I'll show you real quick, is if you didn't put enough padding, let's say you did like 10 pixels, do you see how it gets cut off? See, there's only 10 pixels of space there. So it cuts off the background. So you don't want that, okay? Remember that people might be viewing this on a large monitor, like what I have at work, okay? So which is going to be a lot larger than your laptop, if that's what you're used to working on, okay? So just keep that in mind. It's something that you may play around with a little bit. It's also kind of depend on the amount of content that you have in here, which I would try to keep as minimal as possible. This might actually be a little bit too much. The next part is to change the background color. You can ignore the text color. You can ignore that too. We are going to upload the image that we just talked about, and I'm going to search for it here. Voila. There it is, and you'll see that my image is 1538 by 1000. Okay, so it's approximately 1500 by 1000. And we're going to do add image. There it is. Now we're going to want to check these first two check marks. All right, and use background image, kind of redundant, but you know, in case you wanted to turn it off. It looks like there's no way to delete it, so that's how you would remove it, or replace it with a different image. Is background fixed? Position, yes, you want that checked, because otherwise when you scroll like this, the image would also scroll, and you don't want that to happen. You want it to be fixed. Okay. All right, now let's add in our HTML. In order to do that, you need to be on the text tab, not visual. So make sure you're on the text tab, and below the video on the page here at designyourownblog.com/fake-leadpages-2, that's where you'll find the HTML that you need. So mine is right here, and I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it right there, and then I'm going to hit save draft. Then I'm going to click preview, and we're just going to take a look and see what it looks like. Okay, looks awesome, right? Just kidding. Obviously we have a little bit of work to do. So if we want it to look like this, we want a background. We want to kind of clean up the text a little bit. However, for this tutorial, I'm not going to go into that, only because it's really not part of this tutorial, and I have another blog post that will explain to you how to do your HTML and CSS, so you can go check that out instead. Again, that will be linked to on the blog post. So for now, I'm just going to show you how to add this background and how to maybe customize this button a little bit if you want to do that, because obviously not everyone's going to want this fuchsia color that's from my branding. And I'm going to show you real quick, explain the HTML in here real quick. So here you see the style tag, and in between that is some CSS. Okay, this is not the ideal place for your CSS. Okay, it works here. However, what I would do is once you get it working and looking the way you want it to actually take this out and put it into your custom style sheet. Okay, again, there's a link to a tutorial on how to create a custom style sheet in part 1 of this tutorial. Okay, so you would do that after you get it all working. And the reason why you want to do that is because you don't want to have to copy this and recreate it for every single landing page that you create, because you may create more than this. I have a bunch. I create one for every single content upgrade that I have. Okay, so I'll just explain to you a little bit how the HTML, this is the HTML, okay, and how that's all structured. So these classes here are Bootstrap classes. Okay, Bootstrap is a CSS framework that's really popular. A lot of websites use it. So it's using the classes from Bootstrap, which is what Parallax Gravity Light is built on. Okay, if you don't know what any of that means, don't worry about it. I'm just explaining this, that if you do happen to know what that means, then you understand, and you can use those classes and change them as you wish. If you don't, do not change these classes, leave them as is, okay? And now we have, this is the content, okay? We have an H1, we have an H2, that's your heading 1, heading 2, the subtitle, and a paragraph. And then we have, this is our button right here, okay? So you'll see here's the H1, H2, paragraph, and here's our button, okay? So obviously for the H1, you're going to want a title that identifies the benefits. For example, design your own website or blog, you know, whatever you want, whatever, something that is going to help to sell people on wanting to get your upgrade. Then a subtitle. This is optional. You can have a subtitle if you want. Mine says, you know, take control of your own blog's design. And then you have paragraph here. I actually have 2, which is probably too many. But that's what you would place here in between this P paragraph tag. All right. So then we have this ConvertKit script code. Okay. So we need to replace that with our ConvertKit script. So I'm going to go to my ConvertKit form, the one that we created in part 2 or step 2. Click on Settings and then click on Embed. And now right here at the very top here, you're going to see this script, okay? So you're just going to copy that. And we'll go back here and highlight this and replace it. Okay, so that's where we put our code for that form. And then you're going to notice here, so this comes from ConvertKit directly. This is an A tag, which is a link tag. Okay, and I put on it class equals button. Okay, so button is just a class name. You can, if you have if you have a class already in your style sheet for a button, you can use that. Okay, so whatever it is, you can just replace it with this. Otherwise, if you don't have a button style in your style sheet, like say your theme style sheet or something like that, then that's where I've defined this up here in the CSS. Okay, so you can just remove this if you already have a style that you want. If not, leave it in here. But I'll explain this to you as well. And then in here is the text for the button right here, free checklist. Okay, so I'll explain to you real quick how to edit the styles for the button. You're going to want to leave this here, display block, because that's what makes the link an actual block that has width and height. Okay, the background color, you can change it to whatever you want. This is the hex code. This is the fuchsia that I use. Color is the text color. Font size, whatever you want there. I added letter spacing, which is a little bit of kerning between the letters. Just because I think it looks nicer on buttons. Padding, 12 pixels is the top and bottom, 20 is the left and right. Again, you can adjust that to whatever you want. I set the width at 100, so it takes up 100% of the width of this container. Again, if you don't want it to be 100%, you can just remove this line. And border radius is 4 pixels. That makes these corners rounded, okay? So if you want it more rounded, you can bump it up to, say, 6 pixels, 10 pixels, whatever you want. Or you can leave it at 0 if you want no rounded corners. But I recommend that buttons should have some sort of rounded corner so that people can identify it as a button. And text decoration none means that this text won't be underlined. Now it's underlined on hover. Again, with some CSS you can edit that. I'm not going to go into that into this tutorial, okay? So that's how you edit the button. Now to add the white background that we have here that has a little bit of transparency, I'm going to show you how to do that real quick, okay? I have taken the liberty of already adding some styles for that here, all right, and with a class called overlay. You can call it whatever you want. Maybe you already have overlay defined in your style sheet, so if you do, that's going to mess things up, so you can name it whatever you want. If you can name it overlay 2 if you want, whatever. But basically we're going to take that and then we're going to apply this class to this div right here. Okay, so we're going to, these class names here, we're going to do a space and copy that right in there. Okay, so that we add an additional class to this div, which is a block, a content block. Okay, so basically this is what it's going to do. The overlay is going to add a background, okay, of RGBA, which is what you have to use to add transparency. Okay, so instead of using the hex code for the background color, which in this case is white. White would be, the hex code would be FFFFFF. You need to use the RGB value, which is red, green, blue, and those values are 255, 255, 255. If you want to say use a different color, you can use this website right here, rgb2hex.net, and you can type in your hex code here and convert it, and it's going to give you the value right here. So here you can see it's 255, 255, 255. All right, and then you're going to do a comma, and then this is the transparency. Okay, so 0 is completely gone. 1 is completely opaque, so no transparency whatsoever. So anything between 0 and 1 is going to be the percentage of transparency that you want. So 0.7 is 70%. To me, I think that looks the best because it adds just a little bit of transparency, but not too much that you can't read the text. All right. So, and then I also added a border radius of 10 pixels that will round the corners here, and padding of 25, which will be this padding between the content and the edges of the box. All right, so let's go ahead and do save draft and refresh. And there you go. So now we have our little content block with a button, and if you click on this, it'll bring up your pop-up. And that's it, guys. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.